For my animal creature project, I'm going to create an octopus, and I'm going to start with my sketch. I was fascinated by the shape of the eyes, the tentacles, and octopus are just very interesting animals. The first thing I'm going to do is wedge out the clay. All right, next I'm going to take a paddle and I'm going to form the clay into an octopus, the shape of an octopus's body. All right, next thing I'm going to wedge out a piece of clay and roll out a tentacle. With the body and the 8 tentacles rolled out, I can now start to assemble the piece. For each tentacle, I'm going to slip and score the tentacle on either side. Slipping and scoring ensures that I get a good connection of my piece. Once it has been slipped and scored, I'm going to integrate the clay. When I attach the tentacles, I use the metal rib to cut it at an angle so that the tentacle fits with the shape of the body that I have created. So I've assembled this octopus pretty quickly. Couple things I want to say to you. I'm now on the bottom side of the octopus. I don't know if you noticed in the time lapse. I flipped it over to make sure I have good connection. I'm trying to save myself some time later on. This is a piece that will most likely hang on the wall. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a little premature, going to hollow it out. Now, the clay is super wet. It's the first day I worked on it. So the way that I'm going to keep it from collapsing is I'm going to stuff it with a piece of newsprint. When you hollow something out, you want to keep a 1-inch wall. It's a good size, 3/4 inch to 1-inch wall. Now, I could form this hollow as well, but as a sculptor, I find that I get better forms if I form in a solid way and then hollow it out. This is going to sit on the wall, so I want to make sure that that's fairly flush. And same with those tentacles there. Be mindful of that. So I'm going to connect a little piece of clay. I removed most of this, but I want to connect a little piece of clay here. This is going to serve as a hanging device. Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to hang it yet. So I'm going to put one on either side. That way I have options once it's all done. And I actually had an extra tentacle, so I'm using that, breaking that down, making that the little hanging device. Okay, so I'm going to use this newsprint to stuff it in the inside. Test my size. And I'm going to get it super, super compressed as I possibly can. Really jam it in there, yeah. Okay, and then I'm going to put my hanging device on the other side. I was waiting to get the thing on there first. Newspaper in there. Now, here's the nice thing about newspaper or newsprint. If for some reason I can't get it all out later, it will burn off in the kiln. I'll have a little bit of paper, kind of like ashes, but I can burn that paper out if I need to. Okay, here goes the flip. Okay, you notice that there are a couple dents from the towel, and so I'm going to need to fix those. I like to do those first, and then I'm going to play around with the curvature of the tentacles. Okay, so I'm going to start to put the tentacles into position. I did the first one, and I'm experimenting with the texture, which are sort of like the little suction cups on the bottom. I figured out that I could take apart, I took apart a mechanical pencil, and I'm using the tip of that to do the small holes, and then a pen to do the middle size. Another pen, I took the pen out for the third size. So I got 3 different size suction cups. So that's the first challenge that I sort of had off camera. So a couple things that I want to show you as I get into this. First up, before I start messing with these at all, I really found in the first one that it was very easy if it was easier if I really moisten up with slip the end, because that's the part that's mostly going to be moving. So the second one, I think I'm going to play around with the shaping of it a little bit more. And when you're trying to figure out like how to get something to stand, you may have to figure out some different objects to put underneath there. On the first one, I put a sponge. So the second one, I'm going to need to find a rounder object, soft objects. And I think I might use a roll of tape. Let's see here. I just don't want it to fall out of place there. I'm using this to make the suction cup. I won't be able to get them both. There's 2 on each one, but I think I'll get the side one there. You know what I could do? I could show them all. Gonna have to make decisions, right? Decisions. Do I want to show it more? I'll start with those. Let's see what it looks like. And I'll decide if I want to put the second one. The second one you may not see. I noticed with the octopus, they kind of like move their tentacles around. So maybe I'll have it moving. That might be kind of fun. And get a sense of movement through the tentacles. All right, so I did about maybe 7 with the smaller one. Now I'm going to go into the mid-size. I'll do about 7 with that one. And this one you can definitely see both, so I'm going to go ahead and put both. They're not as deep as an actual octopus. They're much more three-dimensional. But, you know, part of it is just kind of getting the sense of it. So let's see, that's 3, 6, 7. 7 seems to be a nice number. Like that. I think on that one you would see the second one. That one you would see the second one. And that one. This one getting down here, you don't see the whole thing. I'll just put part of it. Okay, and now we're going to get to the little tiny one. This is the one I started off with, and then I realized, oh, wait a second, that's going to be too small. I should get... All right, there's a little bird's eye view of the octopus so far. So I've created some movement. I'm starting to let things dry. And I'm thinking about hanging this piece on the wall. And so the only last thing I want to do is I want to add some eyes and then, of course, shading and textures and things like that.